Well, hello and good evening, everyone.
Hello, everyone.
Welcome to Totally Us.
It is
Unscripted.
Hello.
I am Winsome.
I am Sylvia.
And I am Sharita.
And we are so happy that you have chosen to join us tonight.
Oh, yes.
All right. So, as we do every week, we begin by featuring a Black-owned business.
Yes.
And we do. All right. So, tonight, I would like to feature Feenie Brown. She is the owner of Beyond Colors Event Planning. And she has done a couple of events that I have attended and has done a phenomenal job. And so if you have a wedding coming up, if you have a dinner coming up, baby shower, any of those things, please hit her up because you will not be disappointed.
Wow.
All right. So her information should be on the screen,
Yes.
but her phone number is 561-827-0999. And her email is beyondcolors06@gmail.com. So we are featuring tonight Beyond Colors Event Planning.
Go check out some of her stuff on Facebook.
Super
Beautiful.
Cute.
Yes.
Adorable.
Oh, yes.
All right.
I may get her for my wedding.
Okay. When is that date?
I'll get back with
to
TBA
be
announced.
TBA. Not determined, but announced.
TBA.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Okay. With that being said, as always, we like to let you all know.
Sorry, guys. Gosh, I get them thrown off every time. Sorry.
Why we are here.
Yes.
We are here for the laughs. We are here for the giggles. We are here for it all.
Yes.
But our main reason is to give you all keys that will produce healthy living in your lives holistically. So I'm going to leave you all with a quote that says, intentional living means making choices for your life based on your greatest values, and it's the bridge to significance, okay? The bridge to significance.
Yes.
So we want you all to always think with intentionality in everything that you do and you say. So we're here to inspire intentional living holistically.
Oh,
love bridge.
The bridge. See that bridge that moves you from insignificance over to significance.
Mhm.
I like it.
That was good. Intentionally.
Yes.
Ooh, which brings me back again tonight.
Yes. Oh God.
Yes, we finished off last time talking about effective communication.
Yes.
It was an awesome.
Yes,
It's an
yes,
awesome
it was.
conversation.
Yes.
The would you rathers have really
Taken over.
Yes.
And I'm sure we'll do another one where we'll ask random would you rathers.
Yes.
Yes, we will.
And so we've talked about communication. What we're going to do is we are going to talk about tips for communication. So we're going to give some tips, guys. So if you have your pens, your pencils, I know admin is on. She'll keep up with us to help us out.
Yeah.
But we're going to give tips. We don't like to just talk about this stuff and not give you something to work with.
Right.
I think I saw last time somebody was asking, what are some tools that they can use when we're talking about effective communication? So it's like, hey,
for you. Yeah.
we're going to give it to you.
Yeah.
You ask,
We
we'll
deliver.
Period.
All right.
All right. So here is the first tip that we're going to discuss, and we're going to move through these rather quickly.
Okay.
Because we have a few, and so
trying to get to right.
Yes.
Okay.
And so here's our first tip that I want to discuss with you ladies here tonight.
Okay.
Is
All right.
here's tip 1. Break down communication barriers. Okay. We want to break down, I'm going to say it very slowly, break down communication barriers.
Okay.
And so these we know can happen in relationships. We want to establish an open communication
Okay.
in the relationships. We don't want to have barriers when it comes to relationships. Good communication, we kind of talked about, requires openness. You need to be open.
You have to be open.
All right. And I'm not the therapist or counselor or anything, but
she's an honorary.
Okay, honorary. I have some criteria and things that I have, but few certifications and things, but.
What certification you got, girl?
Girl. I got
girl.
Emotional resilience.
Girl, give me some, girl.
Thank you.
Girl.
Okay. See, they trying to be funny. But we want to have open communication.
Yes.
And so we want to break those barriers down. And sometimes it takes time. But what would you offer our audience in talking about breaking down communication barriers?
I think you have to identify what barriers are present. So I don't want to talk to somebody who is always criticizing me or blaming me because something I did made the situation, what it is or whatever.
Right.
So it's like, I think in order to break down the barrier, you have to first identify what is the barrier. I like to call it the communication dance, right? Okay. So it's like when you're doing like, ballroom dancing or whatever, you have somebody that lead and you got to follow and things like that, right?
Yeah.
And so when it comes to barriers to communication, it's like I step into the room, my voice, elevates, and then it turns into this thing, right?
Yeah.
But for some people, they're continually in this dance, this communication dance that leads them to not favorable outcomes. So you have to identify what is the barriers first, and then we can begin to break them down.
That's true. That's good. Definitely.
Right. What's your communication dance?
What y'all?
What y'all producing? What y'all creating?
Are they looking back at it?
Christian Network. No, man.
Gosh, we have so much fun.
We do. So identifying, like you said, what your dance is, but also identifying those things that hold you down and that are the barriers. So one thing that sticks out to me is coming to the table being defensive sometimes.
Yeah.
So you gotta make sure that you are not so defensive and you're always having to come in guarded. You got to let your guard down. And I know sometimes that may take some time and it happens over a period of time. But just not being so defensive and being open and receptive to what the other person is actually seeing and viewing.
Yeah. There's this therapist researcher by the name of Gottman, and he came up with this theory called the 4 horsemen. And he defines the 4 things that the 4 communication styles within couples that put them in jeopardy. So one is defensiveness, one is stonewalling, one is criticism, and I'm not bringing the other one to recall right now, but criticism is the one that is the highest indicator of divorce, because you're literally saying to your partner, you're not my equal, right? You're beneath me. Right. There's nothing that you can tell me. Right. And so when there's a lack of value within the relationship, that's a key indicator that we're not going to survive, because you don't value what I bring. I don't value what you bring. So those things we gotta break them down.
Break them down,
and pretty much taking ownership for what you've done, not blaming the other person, and taking ownership for your piece of everything that has gone along, and then going to the table and making those changes.
Yeah, and I think too, what we talked about before, feeling comfortable and safe.
To
help break down those barriers. Wonderful, awesome. Let me go to tip number 2.
Yes.
Okay. Tip number 2.
Sorry, we got it.
Y'all got into that. That's hard. Tip number 2. Stay in the present. Okay. Meaning, when we are communicating, don't keep throwing up what happened in the past. Like, stop that.
Right.
Because that's not healthy. So tip 2, stay in the present. What would you offer our online or those listening to our show about staying in the present?
Yeah, I think like when we don't stay in the present, we'll have the tendency to attack the person and not the situation. So we have to deal with what happened and not like demoralize the person.
Right.
Like you always do this or you never do that or whatever. It's like, well, are we dealing with what happened today or are we dealing with all the things that happened before?
Right.
You know? And remember I said a couple of weeks ago that a lot of times when things keep coming up from the past, it's because it's really not resolved.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
That's right.
I think that's a good one. So just focusing on the present.
And making sure it's resolved.
Right.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Okay. All right. Tip number 3. Okay.
Keeping us on,
Right.
Keep it on track. Just
so
like,
we
cause, you know, we can go all night with
we
this,
sure
but
can.
we're just giving you quick tips that you can do
Right.
starting tonight.
Right.
Because some of y'all need to start tonight. Stop bringing up the past.
Mm-hmm.
And some of y'all need to break some barriers.
Yes.
All right. So here's your third tip. Listen more than you speak.
Yes.
Oh my.
2 ears and
That you-
1 mouth.
Come on. You got to listen more than you speak. You can't talk over a person.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Anything that we want to add to listen more than you speak is kind of self-explanatory, but we have that's really a big issue.
Yeah, but I think it also demands of us to actually be able to process what the person is saying.
Exactly.
Right? It's like some of us are just waiting for our turn to talk.
Mm-hmm.
We're not really listening. We don't know what the person is really saying because we're just waiting for our opportunity.
Yeah.
You know, so the old folks, again, they said you got 2 ears and 1 mouth.
Right.
Right. And I think you have to listen so that you can actually hear the full picture of what is going on. Because if you're not listening, then you're going to miss something. And then those things tend to come back up.
Right.
Because you skipped all the way over that and you didn't process it and deal with that piece.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's what leads to a lot of misunderstandings in
Mhm.
friendships,
Yes.
marriages,
Family.
work, everything.
Yes.
You're not
Yes.
listening.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Because you do harm when you just interrupt people.
Mhm.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And you don't give them an opportunity to actually share fully.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then
Because if they don't share fully, then they're holding that in.
Yep.
that's right.
And they
Yep.
never were able to express to you
Mm-hmm.
that this is what was wrong.
Yeah, I agree. So guys, listen more than you speak. Some of y'all just need to hush for a minute.
Wait.
Just throw that out.
Woo!
Just hush for 1 minute and listen.
Just be quiet.
Actively listening is what you were saying.
Yes.
Like not to wait for your turn to give something,
Right.
but to just listen.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, don't even respond. Just
Right.
listen.
Let me see what if I could
Yeah.
really understand
Yeah.
what they're saying.
And listen so that you can see where you are in that puzzle.
That's
piece.
true. That's true.
Yeah.
Well, that takes me to the next one,
Right.
Mhm.
which is never. I don't want to number them, you know.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
When I number them, we gonna get thrown off. And I'm
Okay.
just saying, oh wait, we on number 6 and we
Okay.
on number 5, so I'm not
Okay.
gonna call her a number.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
But I want to talk about never underestimate
Mhm.
the impact of honesty.
Ooh.
And we kind of talked about
Ooh.
it when we were talking about effective communication, but when we're communicating openly
Mm-hmm.
and you can be honest, that is the key to having a strong, healthy relationship.
Yeah.
We not just talking about specific relationship, but any relationship.
Right.
Right.
If I can feel like I can be honest, then it helps to let me know I can be truthful,
Mhm.
and that's how you have genuine, authentic relationships when you
Right.
can be honest. I think that's kind of how our relationship cultivates itself because
Right.
we're very genuine and
Mhm.
honest with each other,
Mhm.
and we don't mind them a little more than me, but we don't mind being honest with each other.
Mhm.
Right.
And so I think that helps. What do you guys think about that?
Yeah. I think go ahead.
No, go ahead. You can go ahead.
I think when it comes to honesty, it's about not just what you need to say to the person, but it's also being honest about your experience.
Right.
So like being honest, like that rubbed me the wrong way, or that's not okay, right? That's not cool. So it's not just about telling the other person, about them or what they've done or said, but it's also about me being able to be honest with myself about how I experienced the situation.
Yeah.
Okay, I agree.
You agree?
Yeah.
Beautiful. And so, with that being said, that leads me to this. This next tip, guys, write it down. This is important. Timing is everything.
Yes, it is. Yes.
You have to make sure that timing of how you respond, what you say, it is a very important role when it comes to healthy communication. If you hollering out too soon and you hollering out too late, then it can cause a little rift in what's happening.
Yeah, that's good. Too late or too soon. That's key.
So you got to know when to gauge it.
Yeah,
you got to know when to gauge it, and it all depends on the person too as well. So like you have to know people who you are communing with, people who you are in relationship with, and it takes, of course, spending time with them so that you know like when to say something, when not to say something, when to let them breathe, what have you. But going back to that honesty, when you're honest initially in the beginning in a relationship, then you can that opens that communication part for you to say, hey, during this time period, when I get like this, I just need like maybe a day or two, and then we can discuss, what have you.
Yeah.
But it's the open communication, but you got to be honest first with yourself too as well, because you can think you can handle something in those moments, but you may say the wrong thing in those moments, especially when it's someone that you really genuinely care for. And I think I said before, even if you don't really super duper care for that person, just having a heart for a person, you don't want to hurt anyone's feelings, and you don't want to try to do it intentionally. It does happen, don't get me wrong, but just being honest and communicate.
Yeah, because timing is everything.
It's everything.
Yes.
Yeah, and someone listening too.
Yeah. All of these piggyback off of each other.
They do.
You need one to do the other.
Correct.
Right. And with that too comes like emotional intelligence, right? Because you have to be emotionally in tune with yourself and the other person,
right?
In order for you to gauge the timing.
Correct.
You know what I'm saying? Because if you walk into the room and you just observe my countenance and I look unapproachable, now might not be the best time.
Correct.
Right? Even though I might want to have the conversation, I'll have to suspend my agenda because it's not going to end well. So we have to move with a level of emotional intelligence. You all right?
It was the suspend the agenda.
Sometimes we do. You go in there like,
you pumped up,
and then you walk in and it's just like,
nah. Don't worry about it. This ain't even right.
This ain't even the right time.
If we're not in the right time, right. Matter of fact, don't worry about it.
Don't even worry.
Yeah, we'll come back later with that. Yeah.
Don't even worry.
Well, this really wasn't a tip, but put it down. Suspend your agenda.
Yeah. Based on emotional intelligence.
Did you get that?
Yeah.
Okay. Some of you who may not know what emotional intelligence is, you can always Google it.
Yeah, absolutely.
And, get a better understanding of that.
Yeah.
Listen, I want to talk, and this is really briefly because we talked about this last time, about talking face to face.
Yeah.
That's a tip. You need to, when you're communicating, you need to talk face to face. We like phone calls, we like texts, we like emails, but that's such loose ends. Like you're not always definite about effective ways of how they're
their
going to
interpretation. That's good. Right. And so you're there to see the nonverbals, how they're responding.
Because I
feel an actual person.
Yeah. I feel like that's why a lot of sometimes relationships, friendships go because they trying to talk through the text message.
Yeah.
Like, hard down and told somebody off. And the other person maybe on the other end laughing. You don't even know.
Correct.
And they like, it wasn't even serious.
Right. You overreacting.
And that whole friendship messed up.
Right.
You don't even want to speak.
And plus, when you're in person, face to face, you can hear the tone in the voice. of what's going on too as well. So all of those pieces matter.
Yeah,
they do.
yeah. And we talked about wait a day or two if you need to talk face to face. Wait your little day or two and move on.
Yes.
And move on, right?
Yep.
Here's another tip.
Okay.
And I know we may kind of talk about this, but use I statements.
Okay. Use
I statements. What does that mean? So instead of starting off talking about them and you
did
and
this,
you did that.
did that.
You make me sick. Come on. Come on. You know that's how they do. You know that. You make me sick. You get on my nerves. You always got something to say.
Wow. Okay.
That's how they do.
You in character tonight.
I went in with
now.
you.
Yes,
I
you did.
almost started believing I was talking to you.
Oh God.
But they need to use I statements.
Mm-hmm.
I am not happy.
Right.
I don't feel.
Mm-hmm.
I need to talk to you, not you.
Right.
I didn't like the way you said that, or I didn't like the way that made me feel. So, and then you take that into consideration.
Yeah. You're taking ownership. You're not being accusatory. When it's you're accusing somebody of something that they may have not intended to do. But when it's an I statement, I'm owning how it landed for me. Yeah.
I'm telling y'all better write these tips down. We're trying to help save you relationships,
friendships, and even maybe go back and try to rekindle some things that you know that you messed up. But workships,
workships. Because somebody about to get fired because they telling their boss, "You make me sick."
You and they're bold with it.
Yeah. Like they can't get fired.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh, okay.
Oh my
People is fired.
That's a whole nother.
Yeah, we'll talk about that.
Don't
on another
worry,
show.
we're gonna have a
How
show.
to keep your job.
Don't worry, we're gonna be intentional, well-rounded things.
Oh my God.
Oh Lord.
Here's the next tip, guys. We're almost there. That one almost took me out. Set a goal to resolve.
Okay.
Okay. What does that mean? You need to set a goal.
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
What is the end result?
Yes.
Of all of this?
Yeah, we just like the nation of Israel, just going around in circles and never getting to a place of what we doing.
We have to come up with some type of common goal that we can work towards.
Right.
Because if not, we're gonna be, like you said, keep going around and around and around. And then it's like, why are we here?
So I want to give you 4 things to consider when setting a goal.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
So the first thing is take ownership. Own what you need to own. I did this wrong. I said this wrong. Just take ownership, right? Make a request.
Okay.
What's the request? So Carol, next time you notice that I did I'm asking that you do this for me, please.
Yeah.
Right? Okay. And then she can make a commitment. That's the third one. Or we can negotiate.
Right.
So if you say, nah, that's not going to work for me, but I think I can do this, right? So the request and the negotiations, I'm sorry, the commitments and the negotiations go together, right? And then finally, integrate accountability.
Right.
How are we going to keep each other accountable to what we just committed to doing?
Right. Yeah. I think you need to write that down. And if you missed it, go back and watch it after we get done. Because that was good. I'm going to take your notes when we're done.
Okay. Sure. Absolutely.
Thank you.
Oh my God.
And here's another one. Establish boundaries.
Yes.
Right.
Exactly.
Establish those boundaries. You got to draw the line somewhere. Some things is just not a negotiation.
Correct.
I'm not
just
doing
not
that.
acceptable.
And I'm
not
not
going to talk to me.
I am not going to accept that.
Yes.
I will not allow you to put your hand up.
Right.
Like you finna slap me.
Correct.
I will not let you talk to me using that kind of language.
Somebody feels very strongly about these.
Baby, I don't want to know. Because you got to establish the boundary.
Yes.
Because you just said don't use you.
That's
so I was
right.
trying to give him an example.
Absolutely. And you did.
See what I'm saying? Okay. I will establish boundaries.
Right.
Write that down.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Anything else on
Okay.
establishing boundaries?
Yeah. No, that's good.
Okay.
Yes.
That's great.
No, that was
Okay.
good.
And then here's the kicker.
Okay.
Here's another tip. Avoid screaming.
Use your inside voice.
Use your inside.
Watch your tone.
Okay.
Watch your tone.
Stop that yelling.
Right.
Can't nobody hear you with you yelling and screaming. Your head should be hurting anyway when you're
Right.
So that's why we said all of these things line up with each other. That's why sometimes you need to take that time away to breathe.
Right.
Because what did Sister tell us in our previous episode?
Come on,
when your heart
when your
is
heart rate is
racing,
over,
over what?
100 beats.
100 beats. Beat. You're not thinking clearly.
Right.
You in the heat of the moment
In the
at
heat.
that time.
Yeah.
So you're really not thinking clearly, and then you're going to
And you say things that you end
I
up
shouldn't
regretting.
have said that.
Yeah.
I wish I didn't say that.
Right.
So now we got to fix more things that happen than the first thing that happened to get you to that level.
Yeah, you done got your pressure, your sugar all up.
Escalated. You escalated.
It's got all worked up for nothing. Calm down. And pick the right place. Here's your next tip. Pick the right place.
Yes.
Okay.
Pick the right place to have that discussion.
Mhm.
Sometimes you yelling and arguing in pride and out in the public.
Yeah.
And you all in the grocery store arguing and fussing.
At the school.
At the school, in front of the school. Y'all supposed to be on a parent conference together and y'all telling each other off in the parent conference. That's not the right time.
That's not the right time.
Whether you together or not. Okay? That's not the right time. You at it's not. Pick the right place. Some things are meant to be handled in the privacy of your own home.
Right.
Okay.
Right
Thank
behind closed doors, not in a public open space.
Okay.
At times,
And with all your family and people there.
Right.
Okay.
And also other people we know can get a little ghetto and start videoing and recording, and you're upset that you on social media,
That's true.
Looking, and then these videos are going viral. People are seeing it, and that's not really what you wanted to put out, but you didn't take that time to just calm down and say, hey, let me just breathe for a moment.
Okay. And then I want to say, don't interrupt. Let me go to this tip. Don't interrupt.
Okay.
Why? Because sometimes when you interrupt, then that lets the person know you're not listening.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And you don't value what I'm saying.
Right.
Yeah. So what am I talking for if you're going to keep interrupting me?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Agreed.
Y'all agree with that?
I agree.
Don't interrupt.
Agree.
And guys, what we want to talk about is send positive expressions.
Okay.
Send positive. Let's be positive when we're doing this.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. There's a tip. Send positive expressions. Okay. Stop being so negative all the time. Hold your head up when people talking. Look at them.
Right.
And let them know I still love you even though we're having this discussion.
And when you're done with the conversation, sometimes you got to leave it there and keep moving. Don't keep bringing it back up.
Yeah.
Correct.
Hug it out.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let it go.
Say, I need you.
Oh God. Okay. Come on.
Sorry. Okay. And then we're all apart.
Oh God. No.
Yeah. And so then respond rather than reacting.
I think, Sister, did you talk about the emotional intelligence earlier?
Yes, I sure
Yeah,
did.
yeah.
Just respond without
Yes.
reacting.
You cannot always just react. You have to respond in an appropriate manner. Because when we react,
It's not good.
it's not good.
Yeah.
It's not good.
It's not good.
It's
at all.
impulsive.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it lacks self-control.
Gosh, you lack self-control,
Right.
guys.
Right. You gotta,
I'm just trying to tell them before we get ready to go.
Yeah.
Okay. You gotta gain self-control.
Yeah, you gotta
baby.
learn to have
Yeah,
self-control.
get your self-control, baby.
Yeah.
And so here's what we want to do before we leave. Thank you all for engaging in that conversation.
Yeah,
These
yes,
were wonderful
yes.
tips.
Yeah.
Wonderful
absolutely.
tips of effective communication. We're going to communicate right now before we leave. We just had a chance to celebrate a birthday. And before we go, we want to tell her, happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday. Happy birthday. Happy birthday. Our sister just celebrated her birthday.
Yes.